Do you wish you could stop sounding stiff and present to a large room with vivacity and magnetism, and not only that, hear yourself speak with an expressive and engaging voice that gets your ideas the recognition and momentum they deserve? Well, you clicked on the right video, because today we're going to explore the art of expressiveness. Since this video is a no-nonsense guide on how to sound more expressive, you'll discover in roughly 10 minutes some valid solutions for using your voice presence and delivery to communicate more expressively, to create memorable and noteworthy interactions, presentations, and even videos. Today we're addressing not just what you say, but how you can be heard with impact. I'm Dr. Sarah Lobigeiger de Rodriguez, an international executive speaking coach and opera singer. I run my own consulting business, Cadenza, where I help experts sound interesting and authoritative. We deliver elite voice coaching for experts and founders so that they can optimize their boardroom conversations, public speaking and media presence, venture pitches, and public visibility. Speaking is not so far from music in that, like music, it involves the creation of sound over time. Unfortunately, many people play the same note, speaking in monotone, where we'd want to activate increased melody and intonation to achieve our goal of sounding more expressive. The human voice has an enormous capacity for emotional expression, and most people don't explore the full scope of their voice and its expressive potential. So here are some top tips for you if you find yourself with an outlet to acquire improved voice tone and expressive sounds. My first suggestion is to brand your approach. Check communicators you know, admire, and enjoy, and note the characteristics they bring that adds interest and expression. Observe what they're doing to be expressive because your preference matters in this. Write a list now of 5 communicators that come to mind that either catch your attention, sound interesting when they speak, or command expertise. Pay attention to the best, and you'll take the first step towards speaking growth. You can do this by observing top TED Talks, noticing who you tune into happily if you're a podcaster listener, or observing who interrupts your scroll on Instagram. If you need some inspiration, we've prepared an expert article on the top TED Talks and also a YouTube episode on public speakers that are inspirational. I've linked that information in the description box below for your reference. My next suggestion is to feel motivated that an expressive speaking goal is worthwhile and take action. You can live too long speaking in monotone. Life is too short to bore your listener or suck the expressive potential from your ideas by neglecting vocal emotion. So set a goal in place for a real moment in time by which you intend to sound more expressive. A wish stays that way, a plan becomes a reality. You might like to think of fixed moments to work towards, like, I will create a video for my business and have engaging and expressive speaking ready for the camera work so that I'm not only visible but memorable for viewers. And don't forget to put a date on it so that you set the actions in motion. Or how about this goal? At my next job interview, I will express my responses with less vocal hesitancy and monotone so that I appear confident, passionate, and capable for the role. In many cases, voice expression requires systematic training, not to rush you, but by having a fixed event in mind, you'll be more likely to work towards it by seeking practical methods and solutions to achieve your goal. Don't settle in monotonous limbo. Vocal expression will build your influence and credibility marginally faster than even what you say. Which brings me to my next suggestion. Build your voice tone palette. In my work and training as an opera singer, I dedicated hours of instruction and practice to crafting and expanding my voice tone palette because, like an actor, the opera singer must personify and capture emotion vocally. One of my favorite things is to fast-track my clients who are non-performers but experts in their field to gain these skills. You've probably heard of Paul Ekman's work on micro-expressions, which are inflections of emotion that flash across your face when interacting and reveal or are suggestive of your emotional state. In my research and work, I have discovered that the voice is the same. In fact, over 20 emotional micro-expressions inflect our tone of voice that our listeners can read and understand, no matter their language or cultural background. These sonic bursts reveal the nuances of our emotions, but interestingly, many of my clients are not exploring the full scope of their vocal palette when I first meet them, resulting in a solid mismatch between their message intention, to sound excited, joyful, and ecstatic, and what their listener perceives by their tone, fear, sadness, or dismay. We know from research that vocal performers are much more in tune with how to leverage their vocal emotions and harness this power in their favor, partially due to their structured training, which encourages expressive flexibility, but also due to their performance anxiety management skills. Functional magnetic resonance imaging studies show increased firing in the emotional processing centers of elite vocal performers, suggesting higher levels of emotional regulation and control in the artistic and expressive process on stage. With this in mind, I suggest we can only address building an expressive sound in your speaking voice by directly working on emotional processing and self-regulation at the same time, because the chamber of the brain designated to emotional regulation, the anterior insula, is the exact zone where vocal emotional control and expression occurs. So, with this in mind, what do we need to consider when it comes to crafting increased vocal expression while speaking? Ultimately, how performance anxiety-inducing emotions spill into your sonic palette, disrupting your tone with sounds that betray your intent, not because of the lack of vocal skill, but the interference of performance pressure on tonality, need to be addressed. To use your voice expressively, you must first compose your mind. This involves regulating your emotions and planning the emotional color and intent of your message mindfully and artistically. Many of my clients battle with monotone, hesitant, or croaky voice tones, and interestingly, these speech patterns are more commonly associated with high-stakes conversations or when on stage or camera, when they aspire for an upbeat, engaged, and expressive sound. I also observe less vocal artistry and expression among clients who are strongly analytical, since their focus has always been on the logic of their content rather than its expressive scope. But here, we need to consider that words mean more than what is set down on paper. It takes the human voice to infuse them with deeper meaning. Even when discussing complex concepts, the voice tone has a palette of potential to catch and gravitate our listeners' attention, raising the importance and thus their interest in what we have to say. To achieve this, we need to expand our vocal expression skills. Here, I observe the cut to vocal influence is double-edged. The first side of the blade is emotional regulation challenges for high-level conversations. And the second side of the blade is voice tone agility to convey voice-based emotional inflection strategically and mindfully. Here, you'll need to learn to inflect your speech with the tonality you need, bespoke to the situation, but also recognize the capacity to use your voice in custom ways across challenging conversations or public speaking in a manner that gives you control over your emotions to prevent nervous tension, speech anxiety, or topic flow issues interfering with the wholehearted, expressive sound your message needs. The same excitable expression for all scenarios is not being expressive. There are moments for a more monotonal, direct speech melody and moments for building the excitement and tension. The skillful voice user is across both. This is all about finding your cadence, something that I'm utterly obsessed with training among my clients at Cadenza, where I use a balanced artistic and technical approach by coupling my expertise as an opera singer and previous voice therapist to craft your voice so it is vocally engaging and magnetic. If that sounds like something you're seeking as an executive, expert, or industry leader, you're welcome to book a free discovery call with me to talk through meaningful solutions for your personal communication needs Or perhaps you might like to take one of our bonus masterclasses, which you can find over on the Cadenza website. I've left details in the description box below for you to check out. Today, we discussed concrete keys that will unlock increased vocal expressiveness. Your voice is your second face. How you master and inflect the emotions of your tone matters just as much as the warmth of your smile and the confidence of your eye contact. Let's not leave this key in the bottom drawer. It will open your scope of influence, building your business, improving your pitching, and holding your audience. If you've enjoyed this episode, feel free to check out other videos on our channel. I'm obsessed with helping you to express your ideas with confidence and success. What's one technique you're excited to try? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's support each other in mastering expressive and confident communication. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click like or subscribe if you want to be updated on our next episode. Ciao for now, and see you in our next episode.